What is up, guys? Welcome back to another day here at R&D. Today I am super excited to finally announce the very first project car on the channel. Now, this one has been coming down the pipeline for a very long time and is very near and dear to my heart. And I'm going to share every step along the way with you guys, and many of you are going to be able to relate to the story that you're going to hear today. Now, do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if what we're doing is something that you'll like. Also, do me a favor, go ahead and share it. If you share it, it's going to help us grow just a little bit more every day. Stick around, guys. It's going to be an awesome day. Story time. Well, where should I start? Here in my hands, I have the original eBay listing for our very first project car here on the channel. The problem with this listing is it is dated September 4th, 2006. Now, the thing is my situation is a lot like a lot of you other gearheads out there that had dreams of owning a vehicle and building it one day. The thing is, a lot of us, we end up giving up on those dreams. We end up selling off our project cars or trucks or whatever it is in order to start a family or get into a business venture or buy something else. It's like we quite often find that we lack the funds and or the time in order to finish a car the way that we want. And that's unfortunate. I spoke many times about selling this car, and I talked to this old timer who came up to me. It was actually an ex's dad, an ex of mine's dad. And he came up to me and said, "Hey, I heard that you're talking about selling your car." I said, "Yeah, man, I just don't know if I'm ever gonna have the time or money to put into it to get it to where I want." And he said, "Let me ask you something. Is it costing you anything just to let it sit there? Does it cost anything?" I said, No, it doesn't really cost anything at all." He said, "Well, put it on jack stands. It doesn't cost you anything to keep it." He goes, "Sure, you could sell it and get some money out of it, but it doesn't cost you anything right now." He said, "Maybe one day you could take out a personal loan, or you could, just get a better job and make more money so you could afford to fix it." He said, "So many of us, we always end up giving up on that dream. We always have it, but none of us have any of our cool old cars because we did exactly that. We did exactly what you were talking about. We ended up selling it because we wanted to get something else or didn't have the time or money in order to get it back on the road or anything like that." I said, "Wow, okay, well, I might think about it, but how often do you drive by pieces of property or people's houses or whatever, and you'll see an old car off in the weeds? You go up to the front door and you knock and you ask, 'Hey, do you guys own that? Would you guys be interested in parting ways with it?' And more often than not, you get the age-old answer of, 'No, I'm gonna fix it up one day.'" There are literally memes dedicated to this. The thing is, I didn't want to end up being one of those people, leaving it on jack stands or out in the yard or in a field or whatever, saying that I was gonna fix it up one day. Well, the crazy thing is I did exactly that. I put it on jack stands. I've taken this thing to 4 or 5 different addresses since 2006 because I would move every so often, and I took it everywhere with me. I moved 1,100 miles and I made sure that it came with me. This was one of the last things that I picked up on my trip. I had the U-Haul truck loaded to the gills and a car trailer behind me. This was in a garage at a different address. This was one of my very last stops before I left Missouri. It's crazy how far this car has come. And I've taken it everywhere with me because I stayed true to my word that one day it was going to get the treatment that it deserved. And today is the day that I introduce to you the very first project for this channel. This is our very first project car. Here, it's a 1990 Nissan 240SX. I always like the fastback rather than the notchback, or the coupe as they call it. Just because, I don't know why, it's just like Mustangs. Like I had a Fox body Mustang one time, always loved the fastback rather than the notchback. It's just my thing. They all have their time and place in which they look really well. And the thing is this is just what I prefer. There is a whole list of mods to this thing. Now, the guy included a dynograph. I also had this thing dynoed. Now, when I had it dynoed, it made 400 horsepower to the wheels at like 18 or 19 PSI. Now keep in mind, this was a long time ago. So technology has come much further since then. The vehicle description says, up for bids is a 1990 240SX hatchback. I've owned this vehicle for 3.5 years and have done numerous upgrades to the car. The car has been meticulously cared for. The only reason I'm selling is I'm purchasing a house and the toys have to go. My loss is your gain. Here's a list of the mods to the car. It has a 94 red top SR20 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo. It has a 1mm Cometic head gasket, HKS stage 2 valve springs, HKS 264 intake, and 272 exhaust step 2 camshaft. Has HKS rocker stoppers. Had a Greddy intake manifold, SARD, 850cc injectors, AEM fuel pressure regulator, which I still have in the engine bay. Had a Greddy front mount intercooler, I got rid of that. Had a Greddy E-Manage Ultimate, I got rid of that. Had a Greddy oil pan on it as well. The BR rev limiter, which it was never actually hooked up, it just was in the car whenever I bought it. So that's in there. I still have that. Didn't hook it up, didn't do anything with it. I might end up giving that away here soon as a first giveaway on the channel. Maybe I'll give that away. I had a top mount tubular exhaust manifold, a Precision SC61 turbo with a 4-inch inlet. That was a pretty sweet turbo on there. I liked it, but it was a journal bearing, so it was, you know, it was old school technology. I mean, a lot of people are still running that stuff. Had a teal external wastegate. Had a full custom exhaust with a vibrant canister on it. I think that was it was 3.5 turbo back, and I believe that vibrant muffler had a 4-inch tip, I believe, on it. It was nice. It sounded really good. It has an aluminum radiator in it. I'm not really sure with the brand of it. It says MSC on it, or MSL. But I'm not really familiar with that. I tried Googling it and it didn't really bring up any results. I'm not really sure about that, but it is a full aluminum radiator. It has, you know, twin electric fans on it. He did it right when he installed it. It's on a nicely sized relay and it's fused, so he installed, it is a nice install. This thing, so it had an SR20 in it, right? Well, it had a MazWorks adapter plate on it, which was mated to a Z32 300ZX 5-speed trans. It had an RPS 6-puck clutch with a stainless line on it, and it was backed by a one-piece custom drive shaft. It has the stock VLSD in it with 408 gears. It has drive shaft shop stage 3 chrome moly rear axles. I'll have to look up what horsepower those are good for, but I believe it was a decent amount. It says it has complete energy suspension urethane bushings. It has Nismo front strut rod bushings, Nismo front cross tie bar. It has Tunabee front and rear chrome moly oversized sway bars, and those things are amazing. It has Tunabee front and rear. Am I saying that right? Tunabee? I'll have to look up the pronunciation on this, but anyways, Tunabee front and rear ProTech SS coilovers with adjustable dampening and pillow mounts. Tunabee rear camber and tow rods. Has subframe collars. I guess he put solid ones in. Has Volt Graham lights Pro. 17x7 in the front and 17x9 in the rear. Has Kumo tires all the way around. They are amazing. It has 225s in the front and 275s in the rear. I'm not really sure if I'm going to keep these wheels, keep the tire size, or what. I'm not really sure. See, this is a 4-lug setup. I'm not sure if I want to swap it to a 5, but yeah, we'll have to see where we go with that. I might end up lowering it. I'm not really sure. So he wanted upgraded brakes on it, so he installed 245 front calipers with Ultima 11-inch rotors. Apparently that's a brake upgrade on these compared to stock. I've never heard of that. I've never really looked into it. If I did any swap, I might do 300ZX brakes, or maybe the Cadillac CTS-V brake swap, which those look mint. But if I do that, I'm not sure if these wheels will fit with it. I have to check on that, but who knows? We might just keep this. I'm not really sure, but it looks really good. It says right here, the engine made 526 rear wheel horsepower and 400 foot-pounds of torque. Now, keep in mind that was on race gas. I believe he was running C16 in it whenever he did that. Now, I did, like I said, I did 400 wheel horsepower. I'm not sure on the torque. I used to have the dynograph, but it came up missing. So I'm not really sure where that's at. If I stumble across it, I'll show you guys. But 400 horsepower, and that was on 91 octane, so just premium. So he made 526 on race gas. Autometer boost gauge with recall, autometer EG gauge, which both of those gauges are gone. I ended up selling those. The HKS turbo timer, PLX wideband O2 sensor and readout. I might keep that, but I'm not really sure because I plan on probably running E85, and I'm not really sure. That thing's kind of complicated. I got to figure out how to program it and stuff because I don't want it. It'll sit there and flash at you if it thinks it's lean or rich. It'll sit there and flash at you. So I don't know if there's a way to reprogram what stoic is on it. We'll have to check on that because if it thinks it's not stoic, that's when it's freaking out. It has an LS Auto 180 mile per hour speedometer. I'm told that you cannot even get those anymore, so it's kind of a rare piece. I'm probably going to keep it because who doesn't like a higher mile per hour speedometer? He actually swapped out the gauges. I still have the original gauges in the back of the car. I might end up selling those because I don't really have a need for them unless it's just to collect some stuff. NHRA legal aluminum battery relocation box, which is fully sealed on the lid, and it has, so in order to be NHRA legal, I believe it has a little tube that goes from the battery box to the outside of the car, like to release vapors or anything like that. See, whenever you charge a battery, it gives off hydrogen. At least a lead acid battery, it gives off hydrogen. So you have to have that vent tube. Sparco seatbelts. Just one. He only had one for the driver. And he also took out the actual driver's side automatic seatbelt. So I kind of want that back in there. The passenger one is still in there, but I want that factory seatbelt back in there, I think. A Signal cooling panel insert. Now, I don't know if any of you have heard of Signal Auto, but they were huge in Japan at one time. I don't know if they still are. I'll have to check on that, but Signal Auto is cool. He has a lot of cool little pieces on this car. It did have a Hallman manual boost controller. It still has the Gretty catch can under the hood. I don't know if I'm going to keep that or get something different or build one. I don't really know. It did have an HKS super sequential blowout valve. The cool thing is it says here at the bottom, I will also deliver within 150 miles of Indianapolis, Indiana for free. And the cool thing was I literally live exactly 150 miles from Indianapolis. So I got the car delivered for free. We went to a Home Depot parking lot and I picked it up. It was the coolest thing ever. That was a heck of a morning. I didn't use a trailer or anything like that. I just hopped in it and drove it home. Now that RPS 6-puck clutch, that took some getting used to because man, that thing was grabby. It was an on-off switch. And still awesome though, man. The car was so fast. It was, I mean, these are what, 2,800 pound cars or so, something like that. They're fairly light, and 400 at the wheel horsepower it was a lot of fun. But the thing is this build here that I have planned, it's gonna make a little bit more than that. So the crazy thing is you look at these pictures here I have of it, and the car looks exactly the same. Now, obviously, as you can see, I pulled the engine out of this thing and I sold it. I remember it was some military kid, young guy, down south. I palletized it all up. I had a pallet, but I had to build sides on it and a top before the shipping company would take it. And I shipped it off. I sent him the engine, trans, drive shaft, yeah, sent him all of that. So hopefully he got some good use out of it. And I did have a hole in the backside of the intercooler because I had a little fender bender. You'll see, I'll probably insert the video clip right here, but as you can see, there is a dent in the front and a little crease in front of that. And the cool thing is I'm hoping to be able to salvage this fender on this car. I believe I'll be able to. It's not that bad at all. There are some other dents and dings all over this car. There's some rust damage that I'm gonna have to repair. In the engine bay, as you see in some of these clips, you'll see there is some rust on a rocker, the frame rails underneath. I plan on also undercoating this car after I repair the damage underneath of it. This car is going to get a lot of work done to it. This is going to be a pretty invasive project. The crazy thing is the panel in between the rear taillights is for a 180SX. Now, the guy told me to get back a hold of him because he also had 180SX rear quarter glass. Now from the factory, it's made into the glass or part of the tent or something like that. It says 240SX on this. He had the 180SX versions, but I ended up dropping the ball and not getting those 180SX rear quarter glass. I kind of kicked myself for it, but the factory glass is fine for now. I may pursue trying to get the 180 glass, but I'm not sure. These are in perfect condition as it is. I'm probably going to get all new door seals, window seals, and everything like that. This is a sunroof car. A lot of people will delete that. They'll put a solid roof on it and delete that. But part of me still likes the 1980s cool little flip-up sunroof that it has in it. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep that. Plus I live in Florida now, you know. You're going to want a sunroof. Maybe tinted, but you're going to want a sunroof. Well guys, that's pretty much a wrap on introducing the project car to the channel. I'm super excited about it, and as I told you guys, it's been coming down the pipeline for a long time. As you can see, we got a lot of work ahead of us. You saw the rust in the engine bay. That is not surface rust. We're going to have to cut that steel out of there and replace it with new steel. Same within the back, and maybe on this rocker right here, there's a bunch of little dents and dings that need to be fixed. We're going to try doing a wire tuck and maybe a a shave in the engine bay. We got a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline, a lot of plans and a lot of good times. Come back and see me next time. Go ahead and leave me a like and a subscribe. Leave a comment if you want. Just make sure you come back next time and check out what we're doing here. Peace, guys.